Welcome to another edition of NBA Picks and Props. Dexter Henry, your host. Another week, another great week of basketball as the NBA season continues. A lot of news, a lot of stuff going on around there. Been an interesting week in the Northeast. We got buried in snow. I was out covering it. One of the biggest blizzards in New York in a long time. Not that fun, but I survived. Anyway, let me bring in my guys who are always on this journey with me. First up, somebody who I know is going to talk about the Miami Heat today and hasn't been as angry this week, Bryan Fonseca. Bryan, what's up, man?
It's been a hectic week. What do you mean? Because of all the things you said, some other stuff that has been going on as well. I was just wondering, because we've never talked about this. Have you ever thought about, because I was on Instagram as you were making this sort of intro. Have you ever thought about who is behind all these bot accounts?
No, because I don't mess with the bots. Except,
well, you're muted because I didn't hear you just now.
I said I don't mess with the bots. If you can hear me, but I do think today I did get spammed by somebody who took over somebody's account. So it's interesting you brought that up on Instagram. So I guess it's interesting. Now I am thinking about it. Who has that much time? That's what's interesting. Who has that much time? That's definitely what's most interesting. Bryan, I know you don't care for the bots, so I'm not surprised at all. Bringing in next member. Our man, Jamal Murphy, the blackatologist. Murph, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm chilling, man. Everything's good. Bots are a problem like that? What's going on?
They don't bother you at all? They're not affecting you at all?
I'm just, you got me scared now. I'm like, should I be worried about, hopping on Instagram, getting my page hacked?
No, so a friend of mine, she got her page hacked, and she actually, I thought this morning she was reaching out to me, and she asked me about the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I was like, this is weird. She was trying to sell me on something. I was like, yeah, she got hacked. So I knew it immediately. Bryan's not hearing us, but we will get that fixed in a second. Bringing in the fourth member of our team, last but not least, my man Jarod Hector. Jarod, what's up, man?
I'm good, man. Bots are a serious problem out there, not just in the sneaker community. Watch yourselves, man. They out here. They're trying to get you.
They're absolutely trying to get you, man. I know Bryan's got more to say about that. So once we get the audio back up with him, we'll have some anger about the bots. Bryan, can we hear you now? Or are you still angry about these bots?
No, he can't hear us.
Now we can't hear it.
The bots got him.
Got him. This is the one time, folks, where you will see Bryan as quiet as possible. This will not happen. We'll get Bryan back on in a minute. But guys, interesting week in the NBA. We got an announcement that there could be an All-Star game on the 7th. Jarod and I will have something coming out on that tomorrow that we spoke about. So I'll be more on that later.
Well, we're not going? We're not going?
What?
Oh, hell no, we ain't going to Atlanta.
Murph, I'm sorry. You want to take a trip down to the ATL and party with everybody?
I ain't even going to ATL with no All-Star games. I'm not messing with them. Have fun in your little restaurants.
Yeah. I'm that's a no for me. Thank you for everybody who's watching NBA Picks and Props this week on the Props Network. We thank you for that. We're going to kick it off and start off this week. Look, a lot of times we look at good matchups. We talk about good teams. But there's some teams that we just know are straight sorry. They're bad. They're struggling overall. But they're still involved in a bet. Like we joked a couple of weeks ago about staying away from the Minnesota Timberwolves. You don't necessarily want to bet on them. So we want to talk about these bad teams. Do you stay away from these teams or not? And then even good teams that have some bad habits, like the Brooklyn Nets. Really entertaining offensively, but they can't stop myself, Jarod, Bryan, or Murph on the court right now. They're giving up points to anybody. Teams that might be struggling on offense, like the Cavs or the Knicks, or those teams you still bet on. So I'm going to ask you guys, what are some teams that are either struggling or bad, and how does that affect how you bet on those teams? Jarod, I'll start off with you. Any bad teams or teams with bad habits that you have your eye on that may affect the way you look at things?
Yeah, so you mentioned the Nets, and it's not that they're playing bad, but we know that they're still a work in progress on the defensive end. But they're actually also the best offense in the league. So no matter what's going on with that team, the over is always in play every single time. Now, Vegas is eventually going to get wise and be like, we got to stop fooling around with this over, because at some point it's they're going to be like, we're not here to lose money. But until they do, that over is always in play. They have hit the over in 9 of their last 10 games. So that's definitely something that's in play there. But a team who's like playing poorly and's got me nervous. I'm like, I don't know how to bet on them. 2 teams actually. Dallas, man, they just looking shaky. Defense has been, I don't know what they're doing. Then they have random games where they just beat decent teams. And you're like, well. So they make me nervous right now. I'm staying away from them. And Miami, I know it was Brian's favorite team. They're struggling right now. I don't know how to bet them either right now. Bam's playing well, but Jimmy's kind of coming back. Tyler's playing okay. They're a team that I'm really unsure about. So those 2 teams for me particularly, they're not playing well. They're stayaways.
I think that was a good note on the Nets too. Obviously, how shaky they are. I think Vegas and the betting houses are starting to get up on that line. We've noticed it go up. We'll get to that later when we talk about the Nets game. That over-under line is definitely going up. People are starting to react to that, so it's rather interesting. Murph, what about you? Are you putting your money on any teams that are just bad?
Yeah, for me, it's not so much about bad teams. It's just teams that are unpredictable. So, like you said, the Nets are on my stay away radar. Like Jarod, I love them with the over, but for the games and the spreads, you just can't really trust what the Nets are going to do. I think they're still, they still are overconfident. I don't care what they say to the media. I think they know they have enough offensive firepower where they know they can just pull out the game in the end. So, any kind of big spread I would stay away from with the Nets. The Heat, like you said, they're just so unpredictable right now. I'm not sure what's going on down there, but they could snap out of it at any time. So that worries me in terms of picking against them or picking for them. The Wizards, same kind of thing. No clue, what to expect from game to game. And the Clippers, I just don't trust at all. Period. Even though the numbers say I should, I just I haven't gotten over, I guess, last year's playoffs. I don't know what to do.
You got PTSD. You got PTSD.
I stay away from them. I don't care.
I don't know if that's Paul George's traumatic syndrome. I'm not sure if that's what the P stands for in PTSD anymore. No jokes against anybody with PTSD. One team that someone mentioned is the Raptors here, and they're a team that's gotten off to a pretty slow start and things, and then they look like they're starting to pick it back up, but they've been kind of inconsistent. That's a team that hasn't seemed to gotten into the flow yet, guys, offensively. Is that a team you would stay away, or do you think their championship DNA, as a lot of people like to use, will sort of come back, and maybe that's a team later on in the season, depending on how you see things go, that you might want to throw some money behind?
I love that point you made about the championship DNA. Look, nobody's saying they're winning a title this year, but that crew did go through a championship and they won. Yes, with Kawhi, but Van Vliet, Siakam, right? Lowry, those guys all know how to win. So, and one thing to note, of all the teams that are in that bottom half of the East that are still working their way up into the play-in seed and up into the 8, they're the only team with a positive differential in there. So the Raptors are starting to play well again. Their defense is starting to lock in. They're going to find their way back into that bottom, getting towards the 8 seed. Actually, even 9, because the bottom of the East, I mean, look, you got the Cavs, the Wizards. I mean, come on. Magic, please.
Not trust them. Brian, I see you're back.
What are we talking about? My fucking connection went down. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't even get back onto the stream. I was backstage, and then it said I lost connection to the host. I got the little fucking stupid buffering circle. Like, get the fuck out of here with this technology, yo.
Why are you so mad at technology?
I'm tired of inputs and outputs and puts.
Tell them why you mad, son. Tell them why you mad.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah. Well, look, shout out.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Brian. Shout out to our producer, Sam, for making it work. Sam Coulter of the Great University of Pittsburgh, doing what he has to do. Brian,
what are we doing?
We're talking about the bad teams for the first segment. This is the betting.
Oh, fucking segment. Miami, yo. Jesus Christ.
Oh, what a shock.
Oh, my God. All right. So the Miami Heat are 7-14. They play Washington again today, which, I mean, we'll see how that goes, being that it was what it was yesterday. I wrote something about them. I know, shocking. I wrote something about them this week and how, among every other thing like that's going on with them on the court, they're just a victim of circumstances that have overtaken them off the court that have affected them on the court. Jimmy Butler's injury, Jimmy Butler getting COVID, Avery Bradley getting COVID, Avery Bradley's injury, the COVID protocols in general. It's made them hard to bet on because their roster has been so in flux all season long. They've had to rely on Gabe Vincent. They've had to rely on Max Strus. If you've never watched DePaul, or if you didn't follow the Miami Heat last year, you don't even know who the fuck they are. They've had to depend on Kelly Olynyk starting at power forward. They've had 14 different starting lineups in 21 games. They've only had one starting lineup play more than 2 times together, and that starting lineup includes Kelly Olynyk at the forward, which is right now their weak spot in the starting lineup. They're dead last in rebounding, which, I mean, this is another factor of having Kelly Olynyk play with Bam, because Bam has to sort of be everywhere else, and no one's in to get the rebounds if Bam's not getting the rebounds. And Bam himself, is a good rebounder, but he's not Dikembe Mutombo. You know what I mean? Like, it's a totally different thing. They're actually second in turnovers. They're like very down in assists. They're not hitting. They're only % of threes. Last year they were second in the NBA at 38. Like, they've been the biggest pain in the ass to bet on of just anything, because their roster, every game that they go into, there are like 3-4 dudes that have game time decisions. Tyler Hero's had a neck injury. Goran Dragic's been in and out of the rotation, in and out of the lineup, not in and out of the rotation. Mo Harkless, who they expected and started on opening night, who they expected to give him something, has done absolutely nothing. As soon as I mentioned his name, everybody here shook his head, and he's from St. John, so we all want him to do well. In my case, he's Black and Puerto Rican, which we're all, but like, it hasn't really worked out. And right now, like, it's just not. They're just the biggest pain in the ass to bet on in the NBA.
But Brian, one of the words that we hear around all this stuff is heat culture. How come the heat culture hasn't kicked in for them to overcome this, to make it better for us to bet on the Miami Heat?
Well, so on some level, like, yes, when you watch them, the ball doesn't sort of have the same juice that it had last year in terms of just the ball movement, moving around. Like, the magic is sort of gone in that sense. Then the other thing is, like, when you're in a state that's governed by a dude whose nickname is Death Santis, kind of makes it hard. To overcome, like, the pandemic element of this. And that's not to be overlooked, because, like, it's been difficult to gamble this year, period, which we've talked about on this show, which we talked about on other platforms. And when you're looking at just the gambling aspect of things, and things are so in flux from a game-to-game basis, a team that's based in Florida during the middle of a pandemic, given the way that they've been handling things, it's going to be very difficult, especially an attractive city to Miami, which is kind of open, and that's where people are going to have vacation. Like, I don't know how Jimmy Butler and Avery Bradley contacted this, but, like, they did.
Were they at the club?
No, not to my knowledge, but here's the thing.
Jimmy's a happy man. Him and Selena Gomez are good. Life is good on these streets.
Wait, Selena Gomez?
Yeah, man.
I didn't even know that. No,
Listen, man, y'all got to get up on your NBA gossip, man. Got to talk to your sources.
I'm definitely betting against them now.
Well, and here's the thing. Here's the thing that's weird. Here's the thing that's weird that makes it hard. And from just an individual player standpoint, Jimmy Butler lost 12 pounds or so due to COVID. Came back, you're like, I don't know. And then the first game, he's like 37-8, 30.7 rebounds, 8 assists, or 7 assists, something along those lines. And the next game, he had a game that was like similar to that. So it's like, all right, what do we do here? So for me, they've just been, other than really Bam, who's consistently put up numbers, they've kind of just generally been a stay away from me in a lot of regards. I don't know if they're going to get it together. What works in their favor is that nobody in the East is really running away with the East. The best record is like 16-6 with the Sixers. If the playoffs were today, they wouldn't be the 10 seed, but they'd be a couple of games out, which means that they're just like everybody else in the NBA who's on the outside looking in, they're 1 or 2 good weeks away from just being in it.
Absolutely.
Wow, Selena Gomez, huh?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I haven't heard that. I know he got a daughter, and it ain't with Selena Gomez.
Nah, but and they happy. That's the word on the street. It's the word on the street.
Is that because that's what you get from a great finals performance?
Selena Gomez, apparently. Yeah, that should come up. Apparently.
Wow. Started from the bottom. Now you're here.
Yeah, absolutely there. Brian, for the first time, somebody has defended you in terms of the Heat. That's our man Antonio Urbano telling me to stop trolling Brian because of Heat culture. I'm not trolling Brian. We hear Heat culture all the time. Nah, I was trolling Brian. No, I definitely was. All right, on to these games for Friday night, which is what we like to talk about. Interesting slate of games in the NBA. We're going to start off with Murph's New Orleans Pelicans, which he was trying to get off of in the last game, They are going to be in Indianapolis playing the Pacers. Pacers 1.5-point favorites in this. The over-under is 228.5. We talked about Murph's team. I'm going to start with Murph. Your Pelicans, they showed a little bit of juice in the last week. They've played a little better. Last week, we talked about how we'd stay away from them, and they made us look bad against Milwaukee last Friday night. We all look bad. Hopefully, we didn't lose anybody money out there. We hope not. But we all look bad for that. Are you buying into the Pelicans turning around? There's a lot of talk around them selling off players, Lonzo Ball, JJ Redick, etc. Do the Pelicans, do you like them tonight? Or do you like the Pacers at home with Jarod's boy, Domantas Sabonis?
I'm not sold on what the Pelicans are doing yet. They did have their best game of the season, probably. They're coming off that against Phoenix. They blew Phoenix out. That was impressive. But they're just still too inconsistent for me. The Pacers are just a better team right now, even though the Pacers have been struggling of late. Both teams are 4-6 in their last 10. Neither has been good against the spread during that time either. New Orleans showing some signs. I like that they're using Zion a little better than they were. They kind of have him in this like Giannis role now where he can facilitate a little more, bringing the ball up the court sometimes. The over-under, I would probably stay away from. That seems about the right number. But if I had to pick this game, I got to go with Indiana. They're at home. They're the better team right now. They should get this done.
All right, you got Indiana here tonight. I also, too, would stay away from that over-under. Jarod, what say you on this game? Is your boy Sabonis coming through with a big performance here?
Well, listen, y'all know I love me some Domas Sabonis. Going to be an NBA All-Star frontcourt starter again, second year in a row. Shouts to Domas.
Starter? Whoa.
No, maybe not a starter, but an All-Star. He'll 2 years in a row, he'll be an All-Star. Look, I like Indy here, -1.5. They're at home. They're the better team, as Murph did say. I just, New Orleans is one of those teams for me that's just a stay-away team because I don't know what the fuck they're doing ever. I'm just like, man, because they should be better than they are. I look at them like, nah, y'all pretty good. I see numbers get put up. I see teams start to play well, and then all of a sudden they lose it in the final stages of games. They're terrible in the clutch, and as Murph pointed out last week, when you got a starting backcourt of non-shooters, that doesn't help you. Indiana's better. Nate Bjorkgren's got to get this team playing a little bit better. They had a little bit of a rough stretch. Had a couple of back-to-backs in there, but I like the way they're playing right now. Miles Turner, DPOY candidate right now, averaging about 4 blocks a game. I talked about Domas, Malcolm Brogdon. They're going to get what's my man's name back? Warren back soon. Yep. Look, I like Indiana, and unlike you guys, I like the under here. Indy -1.5 and the under.
Okay, taking the under there. And Murph, I must say, I'm a little bit disappointed we did not get another epic New Orleans Pelicans rant against how offensively challenged they are.
I can't stay so emotionally invested. You know what I'm saying? I had to back up and say, listen, man, the garbage.
Brian does that all the time.
I know. But he has a longer history with the Heat. I just jumped on the bandwagon, when Zion came to town. That's all.
Fair enough. Brian, you can stay with that energy of being emotionally invested. I was angry. What do you like about this game? Do you not like this? This game you're going to stay away from? Pelicans versus Pacers.
It's a stay away from me. I don't love the over-under, but I would take the under and roll with Jarod there because Indiana is the team that I think is going to win, and they just don't score a ton of points relative to like other NBA teams. They're in that 112 sort of range in terms of points per game. Now, in terms of the Pacers, though, I just love what they're doing, which is different from how I feel about New Orleans in general, which we talked about last week. We're still trying to figure some things out on that end. Domas Sabonis is back from injury and has been killing. He's had 30-plus points and 10-plus rebounds and 5+ assists in each of his last 2 games. I love the combination with him and Malcolm Brogdon. We'll see what happens if Karis LeVert plays this season, but we know he's going to be there next year because of the contract. We'll see what happens with TJ Warren when he eventually comes back, but I'm generally going to pick Indiana more often than I'm not, especially a team like New Orleans can't quite figure out. And as you said, we're going to talk about trades at some point like down the line, but they have a bunch of trade candidates, whether it be JJ Redick, Lonzo Ball, maybe Steven Adams, because that would make a lot of sense to me, although I don't know where he would go. But I still don't quite see how things are going to fit. And like Jarod pointed out, I just don't know what you're getting on a night's basis from certain guys like Brandon Ingram, like Zion Williamson, particularly their bench, which isn't great and hasn't been great this season. So I generally really like Indiana, so I would. And I like the under here, though I'd probably stay away from that.
Yeah, I would go with Indiana here for the reasons that you guys said. I would stay away from the under. A bit skeptical on that, but I could also see why Jarod likes to take it there. I can understand that for sure too. But yeah, can't trust the Pelicans right now. Got to go with the Pacers. Just more players that have played consistent this year. More players that actually potential all-stars on one team as opposed to the other. All right, we're going to continue on with these games. I want to shout out to everybody who has been viewing. Still looking for my man Eric Chang. Are you here today? You're usually with us, man.
Eric Chang, where you at, homie?
Where you at, homie? We haven't seen you here today. If you have any questions on these games, you have any comments, please bring it in. John Venner, we see you out there with the comments. My man Antonio Urbano, also with the comments. Thank you for that. We're going to continue with our second game of Friday night that we'll look at. And we've talked about this team a lot in the last few weeks. That is the Brooklyn Nets. Brian is right, but we're going to talk about why this could be interesting actually this week. The Raptors, we brought that up before about how they're maybe one of those teams early you probably wanted to stay away from because they've been playing badly, but they've been playing a little bit better lately, and they're now playing the Brooklyn Nets, who can't stop anyone right now. We talked about that over-under and how Vegas would have to adjust to that. The over-under for this game, folks, 240 points.
Right.
They're starting to recognize that the Nets can score. You know what? I kind of have to rock with Brian on this one. I don't give a damn about that 240. Take the over because teams are going to score on them anyway. Nets are favored -5 in this game. I'm going to start with you, Jarod. As I said, the Nets can't stop us if we're on the court.
I mean, damn. Could you imagine if we got out there and they couldn't stop us? That'd be some sad ass shit.
Well, yeah. I want to say
I got some buckets left in me. I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
I ain't got nothing.
Man, you have to try to post up James Harden, his big thick ass.
I'm not a post up. I'm too short to post up.
Yeah, Brian, who are you giving buckets to on the net?
Who can guard on that team besides Kevin Durant?
Well, I want to say this. This is all tongue in cheek. Obviously, these are NBA players.
We wildin'.
We know.
I'm not in my prime anymore. If I was back in my prime, though, listen.
Shut up with your young ass.
Current Brian is a little more reserved and like really nuanced about this stuff. Delusional Brian, 17-year-old. Come on, man. I had braids back then. Like I wasn't trying to hear shit.
You can't want the cornrows, but like, yeah, I got something for you. Yeah, man, they gonna swat your ass the minute you step on that court. Yeah. Listen, I think the lines moved down to 239.5, and most books, like everybody else still says I do like the over here. But I will say it's -5, I believe the line is, or is it?
Yes, -5.
I like the Nets -5 here. Look, they're starting to figure some things out, which is kind of scary. Like offensively, they're already really good, but they're figuring out more things and looking better. Toronto does not have the firepower to keep up with them offensively. They just don't. I mean, Van Vliet's gonna have to go nuclear again. Kyle Lowry gonna have to go nuclear also. Pascal, who's been up and down, and I love Pascal, but he hasn't been consistent. -5.5, I think it is now.
Yeah, it's now -5.5. Yeah,
I still like Brooklyn here to win this one pretty comfortably, and I do like the over.
I mean, you gotta like the over with the Nets right now. I see no reason to do that. Murph, this is your term. This is what you say. Banging the over here, I would think so.
Yeah, I mean, you have to bang the over. Like you said, odds makers have adjusted. The lines for Nets games and over-unders are going, much higher. They're at 240 now. But, the Nets are averaging 122 a game. They're giving up 118 a game. Guess what? That equals 240. So keep banging the under because it's probably going to be, we're going to keep seeing unders.
You mean the over? You mean the over?
The over? Yeah, keep banging the over. We're going to keep seeing overs. Like I said before, I think the Nets, no matter what they tell us in terms of trying to play defense, and we know we have to play defense. They know who they have on their team, and they're going to just it's going to come down to outscoring the other team on a day-to-day basis. So keep banging the over. As far as the spread, this is tough for me because, like I said before, I can't really trust the Nets. As far as covering the spread or playing a complete game and doing what they're supposed to do. I do have confidence that they'll win the game, but I would take Toronto here at +5.5. I think they'll keep it close. I think it'll be, it'll come down to, a basket here or there at the end. they're going to put points up. We know that. Even if they don't, you look at their roster, you think, maybe they shouldn't be able to, but against the Nets, they will be able to put points on the board. So I would take the Raptors plus 5.5. Toronto 6-4 in their last 10, 5-5 against the spread. Brooklyn is 7-3 in their last 10, but only 4-6 against the spread. So I like the Raptors here.
Yeah, definitely liking that too. I think a stat that's been floating around, and a lot of NBA fans are aware of this. The Nets right now, since the James Harden trade, are on pace, and I kind of hate on pace awards, but they're on pace to be the best offense in the history of the league. And they're also on pace to be the worst defense in the history of the league. And it should be noted that no team, I think it's worse than 11th in total defense in the last 10 or 12 years, I believe, has ever won the championship. So the defensive numbers doesn't necessarily bode well for the Nets. But John Venner, we see you. Spread and bang, rules to live by.
I was going to say, can we put his comment on the screen?
I knew you'd love that, Brian. The minute I saw it, I was like, oh, man.
John Venner, you and Brian sound like y'all can hang out and be really good. John Venner, you seem like the kind of person that likes Sexland in the backcourt in Cleveland.
Sexland, oh my God.
I think he does. Brian, that's a perfect setup for you. Spread and bang, is that the rule to live by when it comes to this game?
Gambling, yes, in more ways than one. What I would say is that Fred VanVleet, I don't think he's going to get 53 points again. But if there was ever a night that he could repeat that performance, it would probably be tonight. But I don't think that's going to happen. I do think that it's going to be over. It might even be way over in regulation because we've seen the Nets score and allow 140 plus in regulation. Granted, that was to the Washington Wizards, who are equally as bad defensively and surprisingly efficient offensively to some degree, especially when Bradley Beal's on fire. But, Toronto has enough to score 120 plus. Pascal Siakam is up and down, but, he's going to get like 20 or something along those lines at least. You can depend on that. You're probably getting at least 60 from Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, and Pascal Siakam on any given night. And the rest of the team can come up with the 60 if, Norman Powell's a big game, OG Anunoby, whatever. I think he's still hurt, actually. And that's ruining one of my fantasy teams, which is pissing me off. But that's another story for another day. I'm going with the over. And I do think that the Nets are going to win a tighter game than the 5.5 that is listed. So I don't think they're going to cover because, as Jamal pointed out, like, they've been in a lot of close games. They're not great against the spread. And the Raptors are the kind of team who would make this ugly and possibly win down the stretch. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Raptors were to win something like a 128, 126, or the Nets were to win like a 128, 126 game in regulation, because that's kind of the trend of what we've seen so far. So I'm more confident with the over than I am with the spread, but I would actually take both bets.
Yeah, I'm with you and Murph on this. We're all confident with the over because it's the Nets. But in terms of the spread, I actually like taking the Raptors here as well, too. I really like the Raptors to muck it up in this game. I think they're going to come in tough. They're going to give Brooklyn a lot to handle because they just can't stop anybody. And the Raptors, we talked a little bit earlier about the championship DNA and them starting to play well, 6-4 in their last 10 games. You gotta like that as well too. How they're starting, looks like they're starting to turn things and get back into the playoff race, even though everybody's still in it kind of right now. Yeah. But I would actually take the Raptors here. I with the plus 5.5. I would definitely look at them too. But the routine.
So to borrow a line from the great Chris Berman, so you're all on the Raptors, huh?
All on the Raptors for now. For now. But
let me just say this because our boy Greg is in the comments too, saying like Fred VanVleet, he can definitely score 50 points again. I'm not saying that's impossible, but I'm just saying,
like, you want to take tonight?
No, the game before he had 9. That's why I was shocked that he had 53. I was like, where the fuck did this come from? You know what I mean? Like, it didn't make a lot of sense. He had 9 points, 5 assists. He shot like 3 for 11, 3 for 13, something along those lines. It was a bad performance against the Orlando Magic, who, like, they'll do that to you regardless of who's on the court. They just have these games where they defend star players really well. So
Well,
and he's coming in hot. That's what that means. And if there's a prop out there, whether Van Vliet will score 30, I would take that. I think he comes in confident and hot, and he's going to have to put up points against the Nets. So I could definitely see him dropping 30. And also, the Raptors are starting to play better. They understand they had a slow start. They need to start winning, so they're coming in here kind of desperate. Also,
I think that's absolutely a factor. And look, you gotta like these props as we go forward when it comes to players, star or semi-star playing against the Nets. They gonna get buckets, right? Like they're gonna get buckets.
Find them points.
Find those
points. That one game of 53 points brought his shooting percentage from like 39 to 42. It was ridiculous.
That is crazy. He was absolutely on fire. All right, this is an interesting one. The late game on ESPN tonight. This is a really interesting matchup because we have Jarod's Celtics against the team that Murph doesn't trust in LA, the Clippers. So this should be, I'm really intrigued to see who's picking what here. Bryan, I'm going to save the other two guys to close this out. So we're going to start with you. I know you're not as much in love with the Clippers, kind of like me and Murph. I don't know how much you trust them. The line in this game, Clippers are favored -6.5. Over under for this is 220. How are you betting this game? Celtics versus Clips, Battle of the Seas.
These two lines are pretty brutal. I'm not even gonna I don't even know where this could sort of end up. I'm really having a tough time with the 220 and even more of a tough time with the over under just because I feel like the game could be a lot closer. And I actually think the Celtics could win this one, though they haven't been playing but so well lately. I love what Jaylen Brown's done so far this season. Jason Tatum has looked a little bit iffy to me, but we'll see what happens. And Kemba Walker, I'm still waiting for him to come back to speed, and I don't fully trust the Clippers yet.
Jaylen Brown is out.
Jaylen is out tonight.
That is true. Jaylen Brown's out. So Jaylen Brown's out. That's a good point.
And that's why you saw some movement on the line in this game is because Jaylen Brown is out.
But I love the way he's played this season, which is why I'm a little I'm disappointed, one, that he's not going to play in this game because he kind of reminds me of Paul George, not Kawhi Leonard, in that regard. So I would have liked to see the head-to-head matchup, and then also with the over-under being at 220. Generally for an NBA game in this era, 220 just feels like a low over and under. So it's tempting to just go over there, but without Jaylen Brown, the way the Clippers play, the way the Celtics, without Jaylen Brown, how much in a rhythm are they going to be with Marcus Walker, who's still working his way back seemingly, and Jason Tatum, who just wants to take step back 22-footers all the time? I just don't know. I just don't know. That was for Jarod. I just don't know where to go here. But because of Jaylen Brown's absence, I would lean Clippers, but I'm not so confident that they're covered just because they're the Clippers.
Yeah, it's tough. Celtics, you made a great point, Bryan. They have not been playing well. I watched their game the other night against the Sacramento Kings. They lost 116 to 111. Anytime you're losing to the Kings, who give up a ton of points.
No Kemba either.
That's not good. No Kemba, and they struggled a lot in terms of getting into their offense.
They need him.
Yeah, they need him badly. Jeff Teague running the show is just not that deal. Yeah, it's not
you don't want a point guard wearing 55 unless it's white chocolate.
That's fair. Oh, yeah, that's probably accurate. Definitely accurate. All right, Murph, we know how you feel about the Clippers. You don't trust them, right? Anything can happen. There's a team you said you might stay away from in terms of betting because they have bad tendencies that we talked about earlier, like blowing games and leads. We know that can happen for sure. Do you like the Clippers at all at home tonight? This would seem, with the Celtics not playing good, not having their starting point guard there, this would seem like it's a pick the Clippers. Is that the case?
Yeah, everything points to the Clippers. Also, the Clippers are 7-3 or 8-2 in the last 10, 7-3 against the spread. So I should trust them, but I don't. I just don't trust them. I also am disappointed Jaylen Brown's not playing. Just in terms of watching that game and two stars on each team going at each other. I would have probably picked the Celtics to win the game if Jaylen Brown was there. Without him, just because I don't trust the Clippers, I'm going to still say Boston plus 6.5. I just think they'll find a way to keep it close, or the Clippers will find a way to allow the Celtics to keep it close. I do like the over 220. I do think there's going to be points scored in this game. Both teams are capable of scoring, putting points on the board. I think it'll be, kind of a fast-paced game. So I like the over. normally all the numbers say go with the Clippers -6.5. I just can't do it, guys. I just can't do it.
See, I can't even call that hate. I think that's smart. You can't trust the Clippers, man. They give you no reason to trust them. However, I don't know. I guess I'll say this, guys. I'm not sure I trust the Boston offense enough without Kemba, Brian's boy, without Kemba doing his thing. I'm just not sure I trust them. But then again, to Murph's point, would it surprise you if the Clippers clipped?
Right.
No, not really.
Or if Tatum dropped 40?
No, wouldn't shock me at all. I would assume here, Jarod, you are going to ride for your boy Brad Stevens and the Celtics. I'm assuming that. Come on, give me some of that Boston love betting this game right now.
Well, fellas, as always, we got to stick to the bit. Fuck the C's. Look, man, all kidding aside, I love Jalen. He's been playing so well. Like you guys all, I'm bummed that he's not going to be here for this game. Also, Marcus Smart's still out too, isn't he? Calf strain.
Yes.
So Kemba's been kind of Tatum's fine, but where are they getting the rest of their scoring from on that team? It's just Tatum and
Robert Williams,
right?
Peyton Pritchard, your boy.
No, Peyton's out too.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Taco Fall. They don't want to play him though.
Right.
They ain't ready for Taco Fall.
And look, as you mentioned, Murph, Clippers 8-2 in their last 10, 7-3 in their last 10 against the spread. Look, the Clippers are good. Not only that, the Clippers are number 4 in the NBA in adjusted net rating at 7 points. Yo, I know we don't trust them, but they're good. They can play basketball. They're a good basketball team.
Until they have a 3-1 lead.
Well, yeah, this is the regular season. We ain't talking about playoffs, baby. We're talking about regular season. So I'm going Clippers -6.5. I'm unsure about the over-under just because I think the Celtics are going to struggle a lot. They've been playing bad, man. I don't know what's going on with them right now. They got some issues they got to figure out.
All right, we got a lot of good comments on this game. It seems like a lot of people are going to be tuned into this one. Shangweth Uman Shankar, that's a really interesting name, and I like it. Would the first quarter be over 54 or below? You're looking like you think points will happen in this game. That's a lot of points.
A lot of points, man. It's a lot of points. 27 and change.
I'm trying to see when you give me these numbers, I try to fantasize a score. And the first thought I went to was like, could I see a 32-23 first quarter in favor of the Clippers, perhaps? Probably. I can see that. I can see them getting off to a good start. Paul George gets his 12 points, then we don't hear from him again until the third quarter. I can see that.
Murph is like, yeah, that's accurate. I can absolutely see that.
Yeah.
No, it's tough. It's tough. But yeah, I could see that score, and I could see the Clippers getting out to a big lead. What say you on that, Murph?
It's kind of it's a stay away. That first quarter, you just don't know which way it's gonna cut. They could be playing tough D that first quarter, and then it could open up later. Yeah, it's a stay away for me.
Jarod, you staying away as well?
No, look, I get it, guys. Playoff Clippers give y'all PTSD, as they do me. Look, me and Murph, we picked them to go to the finals last year. It was Sixers and Clippers, baby. That's what we had last year. Ooh, that didn't work out so well. But look, this is the regular season. The Clippers they're playing much, much better. Like you can see it. They're really good, man. Like again, number 4 in the league in adjusted net rating. They offense and defense. This team can play. And again, the Celtics with just Jason Tatum and Kemba Walker, who isn't fully back yet, I just don't love what they're doing right now. Clippers, man, at home.
There you go, Antonio Urbano. This version of the Clippers can be trusted in the regular season. In playoffs, nah. I mean, I think we're all on that. Oh,
they didn't wait and see.
And they didn't look that great. I mean, they didn't take care of business again when they were in Brooklyn, a couple of days ago.
Now, what we have to remember about Brooklyn, though, Murph, is that offense is fucking nuclear, bro. Like, it is, I mean, fucking, I think got 3 of the best fucking ISO scores in the history of basketball on one team. Like,
I think the Clippers were favorites that game, right? I think.
One.
Yeah, they were 1 point. I just don't, I trust the Clippers against like terrible teams or average teams in the regular season. It's when the lights are bright, I trust Kawhi, but I'm not there with the Clippers yet.
Man, I can't wait till we get to the playoffs and we talk about betting on the Clippers. It's gonna be so.
Anybody wasting their money on that shit?
well, there's some good advice right now already. All right, we're gonna get on to the next segment, but I want to let you guys know when you're shopping for betting lines, in terms of the NBA, you want to use the PropsNetwork.com live odds comparison tool. You go to PropsNetwork.com/NBA. You can see all the different spreads, payouts for all the legal sports books all in one place. is what we show you during the show. You get to see, easy to compare, really good to see how you're going to bet and which betting houses you want to go with for all the best odds. So absolutely check that out. Also want to encourage you to check out, you're watching us right now on the Props Network YouTube channel. Continue to do so. Subscribe. It's the best way you can support us. Subscribe right now. Get some more NBA betting content from us. You know where to find us. NBA Picks and Prop Show every Friday, 5 p.m. Unless Brian has some technical difficulties, or we all do, and we hold you up. But, you guys still stick around with us, so we like that. Always coming to us. Brian, still don't be mad. You don't have to be mad, man. Also, you can check out Just for Sport with my man, Jamoke Davis, talking about the wide world, I can't talk today, of sports and betting all week on the Props Network YouTube channel. And our man, Joel Wilkowski, talking about all the betting across the board, NBA picks, NFL picks. The Super Bowl is coming up. We're going to be talking about that. People want to know how they're going to bet on the Super Bowl. You can find all that on the Props Network YouTube channel. Continue to support us and check that out. All right, our third segment this week. We talked about this last week. Parlays. This is all about to parlay or not to parlay. So I tried to find some parlays for the guys that we might find a little bit interesting. And would you play?
Oh, this first one is crazy.
Yeah, I knew. Last week I came with one that was kind of weak. Brian called me out for that.
This first one is tempting.
It's so tantalizing. It's so tantalizing. But you know who's gonna screw you in that first one. You know it.
Yeah, you know who's gonna screw you.
Let's get into it. Let's get
into it. This is tantalizing, and I tried to come with some tantalizing parlays this week. The ones that might make you have to say, I don't know if I want to go there or not. This first one, Zion Williamson, Zach LaVine, and Malcolm Brogdon, all to score 25 plus points. Now we know Zion Williamson is playing against the Pacers. Also, Malcolm Brogdon would be in that game as well. And Zach LaVine and the Bulls, they are playing, I forgot who they have tonight. They have the Magic. Just so you know, the matchups. Thank you, Rob.
That's 25 for LaVine.
That. 25 on like 40 shots. Probably.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But this is not a parlay about efficiency. All right? It's not a parlay about efficiency. Would you take this parlay or would you pass? Brian, you found this particularly interesting. I'll start with you. To parlay or not to parlay for this one?
So it's interesting because, as Jarod points out, the guy who scares you here the most is Zach LaVine. Although I'm not fully confident, as much as I love Malcolm Brogdon, in the 25 points from Malcolm
That's
Brogdon.
who I was saying scares me the most is Brogdon.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
so I thought it was Zach LaVine because,
Brogdon.
But when it comes to
LaVine gonna get his.
But here's the thing. He's been very volatile, even though he averages 26 and a half, 27 points a game or so. Like Malcolm Brogdon's last 10 games. I'm looking at it right now. He scored 25 or more points in 4 of those games. One of them was a 36-point game, and the other was just around 25 or so, right? With Zach LaVine, it's a little more up and down because right here you have, first of all, in the last 10, there's a 45-point game there. There's a 35, then there's a 10. He went from 35 to fucking 10, right? Then 33, 25, 21, 30, 26, 21, 24. And it's like, I just don't quite know. And against the Magic, he could have the 9-point Fred VanVleet game or he could have the 53-point Fred VanVleet game. I just don't know because the NBA has been like that this year. But this is very tempting. It's something that I wouldn't put a lot on it, but I would put a couple on it. I would, because I'm a little worried about even Zion because like they're playing Indiana. That game could be ugly. That game could be slow pace or whatever. A plotting game. Sabonis is there. Miles Turner is there. That could be difficult. But Zion has showed that it kind of doesn't matter on most nights. He's just going to get his 27, whether it has to be on 18 shots, 25 shots, or whatever the case may be. He'll figure it out. I'm most confident about Zion there, which says a lot about the other two in terms of getting to 25 points. But this is something that I will put a little bit on. It's a good parlay.
Okay. You put a little bit of money on this. Although the way you talked about Zach LaVine sounded like you were talking like he was the Clippers of NBA players. Murph.
That's where he should get traded to. Why not?
Interesting. Murph, you put some money down on this, or is this a stay away from? Also want to let you know you can see this right below. The odds on this are plus 650. So put a little money, yes or no, on this parlay.
Yeah, why not? Because of that plus 650, it's enticing. I put a couple of dollars on it. Zion. First of all, 25 is a lot of points. So all 3 of these dudes might not get 25, and it wouldn't be all that surprising. But Zion, he's been playing really well as of late. He's kind of figuring out where he can get his points. He's not taking outside shots. He's very content, and he's been putting up big numbers in the paint. He tends to struggle in terms of struggle for him because when he's playing against smaller teams, he's going to mess around and be like 10 for 12, 10 for 13 from the field. But it's when he plays against length, his shooting percentage will be about 50% or below sometimes. So when you look at, Miles Turner, not that big. I think Zion should have his way. I think, on offense, I think he'd have his way against Sabonis. Zach LaVine against Orlando. I hear you, Brian, but against Orlando, against those iffy teams, I think Zach LaVine, that's where he pumps that's where he gets his points. That's where he pumps his averages up. I think I could see him getting 30 plus tonight just to, to remind people, there's been this all-star talk, whether he deserves to be an all-star. I think this is one of those games he tries to prove that he is an all-star. Brogdon, I agree that Brogdon is the most iffy one because it's really not his game. He takes what's there. He takes it if you give it to him. So it's going to depend on the play of the guards on New Orleans.
Lonzo, they can guard.
Yeah, actually they can't shoot, but they can actually play some defense. So it might be a little tougher for Brogdon in this game, but I do. He's capable of getting 25 plus. So I think at plus 650, it's a decent wager there. I would take it.
The decent wager for our new bettors out there. That's if you put $10 down, you can win 65. So 6.5 to 1 odds. Dennis Subotic says he's concerned about Zion versus the two big Indiana guys, as Brian said. Now, this is why I kind of left you for last, Jarod, on this. We know how much you talked about liking Indiana where they are, even though they've struggled a little bit lately, and they're big guys in the matchup against Zion, but also Brogdon, as the points that Murph brings up, going against two good defenders in that backcourt. Would you take this? You said you're concerned about Brogdon in this. He's the guy I'd be concerned about too. But is this a parlay you're going to even put maybe $10 down, maybe a little bit more?
So when we're talking about betting, guys, it's always about value, right? I mean, this is a good value bet. Plus 650. Again, $10, you're getting 65. If you got, if you're talking about your, I got a couple dollars to play with tonight, tossing 10 or 20 on here, you might get yourself in the money. So not a bad bet parlay wise. Now, if you're looking at odds for it to happen, the reason why you're getting such good value is because 25 points a game or 25 plus points, which means they have to score 26, is a lot of points. Do you guys know how many players in the league right now are averaging more than 25 points a game?
Probably 8.
No, it's more than that.
More than that?
Averaging 25 or more is 15.
I was going to say 15. Literally what I was going to say.
And the only one in that crew who's averaging 25 or more is Zach LaVine. Nobody else. So again, you think, it's just 6 points a quarter. 6 points a quarter in the NBA is hard as shit. Okay, like
it's not anymore.
It's not that easy.
Unless you're playing the Brooklyn Nets every time.
Right. And to your point, with the way that the two bigs play for Indiana, it's going to be tough. But again, for a value, if you've got 10, 20, and you're looking at your allotment for the night, and you're like, when we'll talk about our 100 later, 10 or 20 bucks may not be a bad way to spend this.
Yeah, might not be on this one. This is a really interesting one, and I knew Brian said from the jump he was intrigued. But on to our next parlay. This one, the odds are a little higher. Plus 950 for this one, guys. Nope. Kawhi Leonard and Devin Booker, got a clipper in there, and Devin Booker, both to score 30-plus points. Could like the odds on this. Murph, I'll start with you. We got a clipper in here. Kawhi Leonard, not Paul George. He might trust him a little bit more. Would you take this parlay or not?
Devin Booker hasn't really been putting up numbers like that this season. I guess he's been playing the consummate team game. We all know he's capable of scoring 30 plus points, but it seems like he's been intent, on playing unselfishly and playing the right way. And Phoenix has been the better for it. So I'm a little worried about Booker. Kawhi, I could easily see him, getting over 30 today. He's actually scored over 30 or more in 4 of the past 7 games. So Kawhi, it's very possible, especially against a decimated Celtics team like we talked about before. but it's just the Booker situation I'm worried about. So this is kind of a stay away. What are the odds on this again?
950
plus
950.
Well,
forget all what I said. I put a couple of dollars over. and really, you're just hoping that Devin Booker goes off tonight, which is possible. So.
Well, our man John Venner on here watching says that he's due. So if you go by the logic of you said Kawhi scored over 30 and 4 of the last 7 games, John Venner says that he is due. Maybe he's due. You throw a couple dollars in here, you put $10, you win it, you get 95. Not that bad. Brian, I know our boy Greg, who's watching, is part of the Devin Booker fan club, so I know what he's going to say. He'll bet on this. Brian, would you take this parlay, or is this one you stay away from?
30 is tough. 30 is tough for both of these guys, but especially for Devin Booker, who's kind of been like, he hasn't really taken the leap I expected so far this season. Now he's also was in and out of the lineup at some point, but now he's back. 30 points is tougher for me, and this is plus 950 for a reason. This is something that if I were to put something on it, I would put $1. I wouldn't feel as great about it. I actually feel more confident about the other parlay we were talking about, because we've seen Kawhi Leonard have great games and finish with 28, 7, and 6. That's sort of a regular thing that happens. Devin Booker hasn't had many point games this season. This is one that I would stay away from and just keep my money.
All right, Jarod. Does tickle your fancy?
If you want to swing for the fences, knock yourself out, right? I mean, it's plus 950, as Murph said. You put $10 on, get you 95. 30 points is a lot. And not only that, as Greg has mentioned, the Phoenix Suns are more of an egalitarian offense right now. It ain't all about Devin Booker. Bridges is scoring. Chris is passing the ball. They're getting DeAndre Ayton to eat. It's more of a let everybody else get involved. So 30 points is a lot for Book to get. And again, it's 30 plus, right? So, and Kawhi, again, look, this could be a blowout. He could be sitting in the fourth quarter with 26 points, right? So, I mean, it's again, but if you got $10, you're like, all right, I got to finish out my 100 or whatever I'm doing. Knock yourself out, but I wouldn't be confident this is going to happen.
The interesting thing is we're trying to use logic in this. Our man John Venner says he hates logic, but we know that he just bets with his heart. So, hey, I like that, man. If that's working for you, I like it. Greg does make a good point. Top 5 shooting guard in Booker. He's sharing the ball with CP3. As Jarod said, so his usage is not the same.
I don't know about top 5 shooting guard. I don't know about top 5.
Oh, here we go. Well, we know Brian thinks Tyler Hero's already better.
No,
he does.
Not yet.
Not yet. You know what, guys? You know what not yet means? Tomorrow.
Yes,
tomorrow. That's what it means from tomorrow. Tomorrow he'll be better. All right. Our next parlay or not to parlay. This is what Jarod's voice starting this up. The real MVP.
Oh no.
Giannis Antetokounmpo and Nikola Vucevic to both record 13 plus rebounds. Now, rebounds is the effort stat, which we know Brian loves. Brian, do you like both of these guys to get 13 boards tonight?
Yes. Nikola Vucevic is an all-star. And I always fuck up his name, but he's an all-star. He's one of the best rebounders at the center position this year. Giannis can get 30 rounds and a half. It kind of doesn't matter. This is plus 300. This is something of the parlays that we mentioned so far. This is the one that I feel most confident about. And I'll be pissed if either one of them finished with 12 rebounds. And it was just the only thing that was scary from that, because that's entirely possible. Vucevic has had great games where he finishes 21 and 12. We've seen Giannis do that as well. But Giannis, I think he'll have 13 fairly easily, and I think that Vucevic will as well. Giannis is of note. He's playing the Clippers, the Cavs. He's playing the Cavs, and as good as we think Jared Allen is defensively, and as good as we think Andre Drummond is defensively, they're not exactly not susceptible to getting their ass busted by other bigs who are offensively talented, even though Giannis kind of just bulldozes into people, but that's another story for another day. I am taking this parlay with confidence, and I'll probably tell you with how much later on in the show when we do our $100 bets.
Okay, we'll figure out how much confidence it is. Giannis is averaging 11.2 boards per game. So is Vucevic. So they got to go a little bit above the average to get this done. Jarod, what say you on this bet? Will the real MVP come through?
Yeah, so the real MVP. Will the real MVP please stand up? Look,
LeBron James.
Or could be Nikola Jokic. Look, 10 and 11 is about what they're both averaging in terms of rebounds, right? I think Vooch is at 10.5 or something like that.
They're both at 11.
Both 11? Okay,
11.
so they got to go over and get two more boards. Is it possible? Sure. as much as I think Giannis can do his thing, look, if it's one thing Drummond and Jared Allen do is grab boards, right? So it ain't gonna be easier than just be up in here snatching boards all night. But it's plus 300, so which tells me that Vegas is like, it's gonna be right around, right? But you know what's gonna end up happening? They're gonna have 12, and then they're gonna sit in the last minute and get subbed out offense, defense, and you're gonna be sitting here mad, like, man, fuck, why did I spend money on this? So for me, I'm like, I'm all good.
Stay away. Murph, you sound like you're in agreement on that. This is a stay away for you?
Yeah, it's a stay away. The plus 300 is just not enough for me. Like you said, they both average 11 rebounds a game. Vucevic actually has had over 13 rebounds his last 2 games, so he's due. Talk about due. He's due not to do that this game. 3 games in a row. Giannis coming off a 14 rebound game. The whole Milwaukee playing against Cleveland, I could see Milwaukee blowing them out as they do a lot of teams. They blow out a lot of average teams. So I could see him sitting the last quarter or so and ended up with like 9 rebounds. So I would stay away from this. The plus 300 is just not enough for me.
Mm-hmm. All right, not enticing enough for you to do it. Yeah, both those guys being around 11 rebounds, and Murph, you bring up the trends of what they've been doing. Vooch last 2 games, 13. I agree. I think he's due to go the other way. I'd stay away from this. Look, I'm with you on this, Murph. If the odds were a little bit higher, if we're talking probably a plus 450 on this, I'm a little bit more tantalized to do this one, but I'd stay away from this one. Now, this next one's interesting because it involves the Clippers again. Oh, yeah. Clippers and Pistons. Yes, people, we're talking about the Pistons. Both to win, all right? Clippers, we know, they're playing the Celtics. The Pistons are in the Valley of the Sun to play Phoenix. I don't know if they can come up with a win. Maybe somebody believes in this. The odds on this parlay are plus 450, which is right around that mark, where it's just tantalizing enough that you might want to do this. Murph, this involves your Clippers. Do you trust this parlay?
I mean, I'm running from this parlay. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, plus 450. This should be plus 1,000. Like,
yes.
First of all, Detroit is not. I mean, they're not going to go into Phoenix. Just got blown out by New Orleans. They want to get this win, and they have Detroit coming to them. I mean, they most likely take care of business there, and then. The Clippers, you want me to put money and trust the Clippers to win a game after I put money on them? Like if I don't put money on them, they might win the game. They probably win the game. If I do put money on them, they're losing the game. Okay, they just are. They can't be trusted. Run away from this parlay. Don't do it. I'm telling you right now.
Brian, are you running away as quickly as Murph is from this parlay?
Yeah, I'm getting the fuck out of here for sure. Like, I totally agree with what Murph said. Plus 450 for a Pistons victory at a Western Conference team is just too low. And on top of that, the Clippers against the Celtics, who, yes, without Jaylen Brown, but like, would we really be surprised if the Clippers were to win or lose this game rather to the Celtics? No, we wouldn't be. So I think that. Like, I'm just not confident in them beating anyone outside of maybe Minnesota, Washington, Miami, to where they're playing now. But I'm not going to bet on Jeremy Grant. So, no, I'm not taking our leg.
Woo!
And let me just say, I'm reading this comment that Greg put up. Pistons' second option is Blake Griffin. He's in the league still? Holy shit. God,
actually,
damn, I gotta pay more attention.
I actually think it's Mason Plumlee. I'm not even joking. I think it's Mason Plumlee or DeLon Wright.
That's not good.
And Dennis with interesting stat: the Pistons are 8-0 versus the Suns in their last 8, which means the Suns are due. All right, that's what that means.
8-1 ain't bad either.
Watch the Pistons win now. I'm gonna look up. It's gonna be 11:58 p.m. I'm gonna look up at the ticker. It's gonna be 109.94 Pistons final. I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah, they definitely win it now.
Plus 450 is not enough for me. I'm like, nah, I don't trust Detroit in this parlay.
Nobody Detroit in this parlay at all. If I didn't know if that stat is correct, Dennis, I'm not saying that you're wrong. You're probably right on this. Pistons have swept.
Well, they did beat the Suns in Detroit earlier this year. So they want a little payback. So Suns gonna come back a little payback and bust their ass.
So they've at least swept the season series the last 3 years. Who's
the Pistons' first option again? Is it Grant?
Jeremy Grant, yeah. He's averaging like 23, 6 and 6. Something. I mean,
I like Jeremy Grant, but first option, get out of here with it.
Man, no. All right, no. All the odds for that, for the parlays that we mentioned, they are all via BetMGM. If you want to check that out and play some parlays tonight. But on to our final segment of the evening. We do this every week. Keep it 100. Keep it 100. This is a segment where Brian comes up with crazy dollar amounts that he's going to put and how he's going to spend it on night. We ask everybody, you have $100 to bet on this Friday night's games. How would you spend it? Brian is going to put $37 or $27 or some kind of other bullshit on some 16 cents. 16 cents. He's gonna do
cents.
No. What have we done here? What have we done? We have messed this up.
That's a new portal I hadn't considered.
Now he's going to fuck all this up. So we're not going to start with Brian. We're going to start with.
Why not? I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
I'm giving you time to come up with some crazy.
I got my list. My list is here. I'm good.
Fine. We'll start with you. Why not?
Too wildin'.
Why not? What ridiculous bets do you have? Yes, and according to our
there you go. Thank you for the rules.
Sam made a rule. There has to be a $1 minminimum. No freaking.
That doesn't say I can't put $1.99 on something. You know what I mean?
God,
like there's creativity
here. Offering discounts and stuff. Come on, man. $1.99.
$10 on the first parlay that you mentioned for Malcolm Brogdon, Zach LaVine, and Zion Williamson to score 25 each. I'm going to start off regular. $10 on the Giannis and Vucevic parlay to get 13 rebounds each. I like that also. 10 on a James Harden triple-double because, I mean, why not? 20 on Sexland to combine for 55 points against the Milwaukee Bucks. 30 of them will probably come from Colin Sexton.
So Sexland is erupting.
Yes.
Garland's been good, man.
$49 on the Miami Heat to beat the Washington Wizards.
What a shock. Most of his money went to the Heat. What a
money line?
And a $1 bet for a Jimmy Butler scuffle involving somebody from the Wizards.
That was going to be Westbrook.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
nice. It's either Russell Westbrook or somebody like Mo Wagner because the white dude always gets put in that precarious situation.
I can see that. And Mo Wagner did not.
He probably didn't even ask for it. Jimmy just got tight. Whatever. It happened.
He got tight. Well,
I can see that. All right, Brian. Interesting $100 spending as always. Jarod, how are you spending your $100 tonight?
Well, as you know, I try to go a little more even. I'm going all parlays tonight. Bulls Pacers parlay, $25. I can both to win that one. And I'm doing a Paul George, CP3, Jeremy Grant, all to grab 5 rebounds. $25 parlay on that.
Okay.
And I'm doing 50 on Bam, Russ, and Gordon Hayward, all scoring 20 points tonight.
Okay.
I like that a lot, actually.
Not bad. Nobody putting any bets on the Clippers.
I put PG to get 5 rebounds.
Oh, you did. My fault. You did. You tried.
Yeah, but I mean, come on.
Hey, listen, I'm just saying, no, that's the Clippers.
If he don't get 5 rebounds against the non-center having Celtics, then I have even more questions. All right,
that is fair there. All right, Murph, what you got tonight?
I like that. I'm going to put $10 on that first parlay we talked about with LaVine, Zion, and Brogdon to get 25 plus. I love the odds on that. Then I'm gonna put $40. No, I'll put $40 on Milwaukee to cover to win at Cleveland by to cover the minus 10.5. We talked about it before. This is what Milwaukee does. They take care of business against lesser teams, and usually it's not even close. And then with the last 50. I'm going to do, one of my favorites, the teasers. I'm going to do a 4-point teaser, and I'm going to take the Jazz, which would be, they'd be -4 at Charlotte. I'll put Milwaukee on that again and make them -6.5 at Cleveland, and then Phoenix -3.5 versus Detroit.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, no love for Detroit either. We're just hating on them on this podcast.
Detroit whack.
Yeah, no argument for me on that. All right. I'm going to go with look, man. I'm taking this over under all day with Brooklyn. It's Brooklyn all day.
Oh, I forgot.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah. I feel like that's easy money right now. $25. I'm going to go with 25 on it. Could put a little more, but 25 for the over under 240 in Toronto versus Brooklyn. I like that. Like you guys, I'm also going to put a little bit more money. I'm going to say it with my chest. I'm put $25 also on that first parlay we talked about, Zion Williamson, Zach LaVine, and Malcolm Brogdon, all to score 25 plus points. I don't love putting 25 on it, but you know what? Fuck it. Why not? Why not at all? I'm going to actually put $25 on the Celtics Clippers matchup. I'm going to put that on the Celtics.
Wow.
Mess it up with the plus 6.5 because I think the Clippers will find a way to fuck it up somehow.
Clips on clip.
Clippers are going to clip. And in my last 25, I got tantalized. I got suckered into this. I'm going to go with Kawhi and Devin Booker to score 30 plus points. I thought about this and I wasn't going to do this, but you know what? Our man said that Devin Booker's due. And I think Devin Booker might be due. Why not? Why not try it with the 25 plus points?
Plus $950.
Plus $950. Fuck it. Why not try it? Might as well. I'm sorry. I kept it all at 25. See, I kept it nice and even for everybody.
Watch Kawhi get 19, 8, and 4. Watch.
Yeah, you know what? If Kawhi gets 1984, you're not going to hear shit from me about it. I have nothing to say. Somebody said watch Levine roll his ankle in the first quarter.
I hope not. I don't want to laugh, but I mean,
and I'm not going to say anybody's due for that.
Nah. We don't. No bad juju out here.
Yeah, John Venner's like he's due.
He's due.
John is awesome. And listen, John, don't worry about logic, baby. Go with your gut. Forget logic. Go with your gut, baby.
Our guy also, Dennis Sabotic, says Tatum for 40 plus points tonight.
I like that.
I mean,
he might have
who else scoring on that team? Like,
it's just Kemba.
He'll take 40 shots.
I'm not sure what the odds are on that, but I kind of like it though. I like that too. Yeah. All right, guys. If you have, for all of us, everybody has tuned in. You guys have been great with the comments and the questions. If you have any final questions or maybe some of the games we did not touch upon tonight, anything else you'd like to know about these Friday night games? I mean, looking at the schedule, there are also some other interesting stuff. Murph brought up Utah at Charlotte. Brian also brought up Washington and Miami. I think there is a very good likelihood of a scuffle in there. I don't know if I tell you the game nobody's going to watch tonight. But
Timberwolves Thunder.
Timberwolves Thunder. Is anybody watching that? The league pass? If I see that, I might look.
Sometimes I like just to see if Anthony Edwards, dunks on somebody, but that's about it.
I have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on my fantasy team, and I have not seen him play in like 2 weeks.
There was
Shai's doing Shai things. He's.
I know that. Like I'll catch highlights and stuff. But I just don't.
Thunder.
I don't watch OKC either. I never watch
Thunder.
OKC.
Thunder is so interesting, right? Because they got all that draft capital. No, interesting in this sense. They have all that draft capital, but it's like they'll do shit like beat good teams and then back around and like get blown out by a crappy team. They're a weird bunch. But SGA, he's good, man.
Brian, there was a parlay I wanted to actually throw at you that you might have seen. Your boy Bam Adebayo.
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook and Gordon Hayward all to score 20 plus points.
That's the one I said. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, you said I do that.
Yep.
You like that one.
I like that one. I like that one. Though
But who scares you in that?
So that's what I'm getting into. It's between Bam or Russ.
Russ been real funny lately.
I feel most confident about Gordon Hayward. I feel confident about Bam against Washington specifically.
Yeah, because they got no front court depth to stop him.
The issue with Bam is like he comes in and out of his aggressiveness sometimes, especially when Jimmy's off the floor. And then there are also times where Spo will like take him and Jimmy out at the same time, which then the other team will go on a run and then he'll have to score. So I think against Washington, I feel good about it. Conversely, against Miami, Avery Bradley's not there, so I feel better about Russell Westbrook doing that. And Russell Westbrook just happens to get his numbers regardless of how many shots he takes.
Russ might take 20 shots. I mean, I get 20 points. That's the thing.
He might take 25 shots though.
Here's the thing. So let's say he goes 8 for 23 because that's a Russ line, right?
Oh, easy.
He goes 8 for 23. He makes 1 3. He has 17. All he needs is 3 free throws. It's not a good game, but he can get the 20 points.
What's he shooting at the free throw line?
Except he doesn't get to the line anymore.
Yeah, he ain't going to the line no more.
That's
true,
like 60%. That's true too, but he can go 3 for 5. Plus, you know what I mean?
What if he has 17, or what if he has 17, 9, and 9, and it's late in the game? What you think he's gonna be doing? He ain't worried about them 20 points. He's gonna try to get that rebound, that damn assist.
He'll jack up a 3 too. He'll jack up a 3 too. But yeah, Russ is the one I would be most worried about there. But I actually like the parlay, and it's weird that I feel most comfortable taking Gordon Hayward there of all people. But he's
Yeah,
been good this season.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with Hayward only because he's playing Utah, which means he's going to be trying extra hard, and he's not good when he tries extra hard. He just needs to chill and let the game come to him, and I don't see that.
You try hard. He said Hayward's a try hard.
That's a good one. Dennis Sabotic says Leonard for 35 plus and Tatum for 35 plus parlay. Ooh, that's interesting. I'd like to know the odds.
What are the odds on that one?
I'm going to see if I can find that. Antonio Arbrano says Russ has been run out of fucks. Yeah, that's absolutely true. I don't think he cares anymore. He doesn't get to the line. I'm seeing if I see anything on this parlay for Kawhi and Tatum. I do not right now. However, that's interesting on the odds. I feel more confident about Jason Tatum getting that 35 plus than I do Kawhi getting that.
Yes.
What about this one as we go?
Yes.
KD, Chris Middleton, Lauri Markkanen, each to make 3+ 3-pointers plus 675.
Don't trust Lauri Markkanen.
I know, but that's not. So I say yes, but I wouldn't put a lot of money on it either. I would put like a very little.
What were the odds on that again, Jarod?
Plus 675.
See, they trying to
good upside.
They're trying to entice you. Yeah, they want you to.
But the one we agree. The one to worry about there is Lauri Markkanen.
Absolutely. But the one to worry about could be KD too, because he could be like, I'm feasting the mid range today, 10 to 12. I'm good. I don't need to shoot no threes.
I could see him making three. Like but you know what? To that point, I do feel most confident about Chris Middleton against the Cavs also.
Yeah. He gonna shoot nothing but threes.
I'd be curious to see what the numbers are for this weekend, because like a game that has a lot of betting potential is the afternoon tomorrow. We have Knicks versus Trailblazers. And I'm just saying, like, there's a lot that can go on in that game.
Damn.
Like, I would want to know Julius Randle triple-double odds, Damian Lillard getting 40, Damian Lillard getting 40, Enes Kanter getting another double-double, maybe 15-plus rebounds or so. Like, there's some high betting potential tomorrow with Knicks Blazers.
All right, well, check out those games tomorrow. We thank everybody for watching. Please subscribe to the Props Network. Lillard for 50 against the Knicks. Says Greg, that is absolutely possible.
Emmanuel Quickly for 50.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Emmanuel Quickly for Rookie of the Year. You heard it here first.
Look, man, I'm just going to touch my Knicks side behind me for good luck on that.
He'll make all rookie at this point.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely gonna do that. We thank everybody for watching, including some new people we had on here. Our man, John Vetter, who says everybody is due and he does not bet with logic. Dennis Sabotic, thank you also. Greg, Omar, thank you all for checking in on the show. As I said, please subscribe to the Props Network YouTube channel as well as Backpack Broadcasting YouTube channel if you have not already. We appreciate your support. We are here every Friday, bringing the ether like on his shirt or hoodie, whatever he has on. Every Friday, bringing that heat, talking NBA picks. Enjoy the games tonight, everybody. We'll be back for my guy, Jarod Hector, Jamal Murphy, and the always angry Bryan Fonseca getting attacked by the bots. I'm Dexter Henry. Until next time on NBA Picks and Props, peace.